There are a couple of videos on modifying the Harbor Freight 30-inch bending brake. I saw some of them, and I've done it this way and only showing it as a variant in case someone is interested. A couple of them have welded the movable brake bar to a piece of angle iron, and others have bolted it directly down. And I've taken a piece of angle iron, this case it's 3/8 inch, and I have attached the movable brake bar to the angle iron with a 1/4 flush countersunk bolt from the bottom. It's removable, it's not welded, and there are a couple of eye bolts that go down and press on the movable brake arm to keep it flush with the surface of the brake bar. I use some carriage bolts from below. This brake is bolted to a piece of 2x10. I can clamp it to the workbench if I want, and I can also hang it on the wall when I'm done. So I ran a carriage bolt from below with a large door spring from Home Depot. Comes up through a coupling nut, and when you compress the coupling nut, you get the movable brake bar to hit the surface, and I can get a fairly decent bend. I put it so that I could get it a little past 90, so that when the stock springs back, I get a 90-degree bend. And again, this piece of 2x10 has a hole, so it's be able to bolt it to or hang it on a peg on the wall. The backside are a couple of eye bolts, and these are for the handles, the rods with the black plastic balls, so I can hang them in the back and not have them sticking out and hitting anything. And these two large bolts on the back, I move the angle iron and the movable brake bar, bolt it down to these when I hang it on the wall, so it's a bit more compact. Again, it's worked fairly well. This doesn't require welding, and it's worked for reasonable stock. I don't do heavy-duty bending, but this has worked quite well. And the spring actually allows the movable bar, to pop up a little bit when you want to change stock. Well, this is the underside of the movable brake bar. It's simply a 1/4 flush mount bolt that comes through from the bottom, catches an acorn nut on the top, and the angle iron is drilled on the side for the carriage bolt that comes up through the piece of 2x10. The only really thing I had to do, again, I didn't weld it or make any real changes to the frame of the bending brake, but the casting is very rough, and on the back side, this section here didn't allow the angle iron to fit flush with the surface of the brake when it was attached. So I took an angle grinder and just removed a millimeter or two. I actually found that the sizes, one side was 4 millimeters higher and the other was 2 millimeters higher, so I made them even. I didn't take off enough metal to really compromise the strength of the frame, but this allows the bar to fit flush on the bending brake. And these two eye bolts are threaded so that they push down on the movable brake and keep the movable brake bar flush with the bottom surface of the bending brake. Well, this is one of the reasons I mounted the bending brake to a piece of 2x10, was that I could hang it on the wall out of the way when I'm not using it. There's a carriage bolt or lag bolt into the French cleat system, and the movable brake bar fits on the back end. It's secured with the coupling nuts to these other bolts that are on the back, and the I don't know if it shows up, but the handles with the rubber balls, plastic balls, hang on some eye bolts in the back. They're out of the way. It's fairly compact on the wall. It's less room than my miter saw takes that hangs there as well. So again, these were just some changes I made for the 30-inch Harbor Freight bending brake. It's worked quite well for me. I just figured maybe somebody else would appreciate the variants that I've come up with.